Well, when you
This
talk
is
about
a
the cost
government
of living,
that
you'd
has
have to
done-
admit that Chris Minns is trying to get as many homes built as possible, and he still faces backlash, particularly from a lot of your North Shore MPs, I might say.
Well, he's going a wrong way about it. We have a housing crisis in New South Wales and indeed in Australia, where house prices and rents are at record levels. But it's not just supply, it's demand as well. And he won't lift a finger to ask Anthony Albanese to slash immigration.
So you want to see immigration slashed?
And yet he signs
By how
up.
much?
Well, I don't think you can put a number on it, but it certainly has to be reduced.
Of course we
from
can
the
put a
current
number
levels
on
and
it.
the levels.
Why not?
No,
The
certainly
federal government
well
put
less
a
than what
number
the
on it
gov-
every year.
Yeah, well, I think it can go down even further. We have seen record levels of immigration. That has put untenable pressure on house prices and rents here in Sydney and in New South Wales generally. Chris Minns is silent on that. And the problem with his housing supply policy is it's a one-size-fits-all. Far better to ask local communities to design what they want in their areas with sanctions, with a time limit, with the ultimate sanction saying if you don't do it and you're a bunch of NIMBYs, then we, the state, will step in. But this is not what the government is doing. And in fact, under this government's watch, we're seeing housing approvals fall by 15% seasonally adjusted in January. That's the worst in 10 years, and that's the worst across the country. So Chris Minns talks the talk, talks big on housing supply, but we are going backwards in New South Wales under his watch and going backwards compared with the rest of the country.
Okay, so do you want to build more houses in New South Wales, and where should they be built?
Absolutely, we want to see more houses built in New South Wales and more apartments as well. But you get local communities through their local councils engaged in that process. You don't have a one-size-fits-all where you literally have the housing community.
Some of them are dragging their feet, you'd have to admit, Mark.
Well, then you put limits on it. You say to a council, you've got however long, 12 months to come up with a plan, and if you don't do it, then we will step in. But in the first instance, you give local communities...
Isn't that what Minns has done?
To say, no. So these are rezonings around 31 so-called transport-oriented developments. That's been announced. It's starting in April. There has been zero consultation of that, zero whatsoever. So you're seeing potentially areas at the moment that are detached housing going up to potentially 8 stories when you include the uplift for affordable housing. Far better to engage local communities to design their suburbs, which could be transformed forever, and let them have a say how they see greater density in their area and with infill sites as well. And that's what the democratic process is. At the end of the day, we accept you have to have state direction at the end of the day, but please give local communities the chance. And you've got Rose Jackson, the housing minister, who is instead saying, get out of the way. Get out of the way. How arrogant and lazy is that?
Well, they do. Some of them do have to get out of the way, don't they? Wouldn't you agree?
Well, you give them a chance. You give them a chance to design...
How many chances? There's got to be a time limit on it.
Of course there's got to be a time limit, but that's a chance with a time limit, not the approach of this government, which is to announce major changes effective April with zero consultation. Zero consultation. And none of this was foreshadowed before the election.
Finally, let me ask you about nuclear, because this is being talked about at a federal level. We haven't got the details yet, but often I speak to federal Liberal MPs, even David Littleproud the other day, when we talked about, community expectations and accepting of nuclear. And we often hear about, Lucas Heights and how people are more than happy to live around the nuclear reactor there at Lucas Heights. But do you think the Liberals' plan at a federal level can be as popular? Would it be popular large and small scale?
Well, look, we're still awaiting the details of the federal policy. I've read in the paper that that may be released before the May budget. But certainly Lucas Heights is a long-established and well-regarded facility in the western part of the Sutherland Shire, and it does fantastic work helping medical science in New South Wales. Yeah,
that's right. So it doesn't supply energy, which makes it... Do you think that's going to be different in the minds of the public?
Well, at the end of the day, we've got to have energy sources that are clean, cheap and reliable, and we'll await what the feds have to say on that.
All right, Mark, good to speak to you. We'll speak to you again soon.